Greetings, fellow dungeon delvers, and welcome to Dorans and Dragons, where we work together to come up with Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition builds for your favorite League of Legends champions. Today we're building Volibear, the Relentless Storm. Although his true name is thought to be Valhyr, his followers all know him as the Volibear. Along with his fellow demigod siblings Ornn and Anivia, Valhyr helped form the Freljord as it's known today. A powerful threat in the form of the Iceborn rose up to meet the demigods. Valhyr wanted to strike them down, and Ornn refused. Battle ensued between the brothers. Both lost. In the aftermath, Valhyr forsook his brother and shed the armor he had once been given. The Volibear would now fight with only Tooth, and Claw, and Thunder. Before we get started with the build, go ahead and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when we release our builds. This build is a special tribute to my patrons over at Patreon who helped us hit our first goal for the channel. We really appreciate all the support you've given us. Alright, time to get into the build. First, let's cover the goals of this build. We need Volibear to bring the thunder and lightning. The fury of the elements is one of his defining traits. Volibear is thick with like 4 Cs. We need to have a decent health pool and resistances. Finally, we need to make sure our unarmed strikes really pack a wall up. For race, I was really hoping Mythic Odyssey of Theros was going to give us an Ursine race, but unfortunately they didn't, so we're going to go with Bugbear. I know a lot of people want Shifter here, but I just don't feel like it's right since they only gain those benefits temporarily, and at least this way Volibear is bear-like consistently. Bugbears get a +2 to strength and a +1 to dexterity. They also have a bunch of features like Long-Limbed, which gives us the additional range that our ultimate grants us by extending our melee attack range by 5 feet. They also have a powerful build, which lets us carry heavy things better and throw other things around more easily. Sneaky gives them proficiency in stealth, which segues great into their surprise attack feature that lets them deal an extra 2d6 damage to any target they hit while it's surprised. And it's stat time, and as always we're going with the standard array. Roll if you want to, but we need at least a 13 in wisdom and strength for our multi-classing purposes. Speaking of strength, that's what we're going to be opening up with. Valhyr is a mighty bear and he goes hand to hand with his foes, so he'll need the strength to do so. After that, we're going to take Constitution. The Volibear is a tank, so we need to start stacking that health early. Wisdom is next. We need it for multi-classing, and he's been around before the land was fully formed. He's bound to have picked up a thing or two. After that, we'll take Dexterity. Valhyr is always ready for a fight and has very quick reactions. Our Charisma is next at a 10. Ideally, this would be higher for the Intimidation factor, but you'll just have to roleplay aggressively and hope your DM rewards you with advantage on your rolls. And finally, we'll dump our Intelligence. The Volibear isn't dumb, but in his battle with Ornn, they slaughtered many of the tribes they both relied on to draw power from. Wasn't exactly the brightest move. For our equipment, Valhyr wears no armor, but you're going to want to grab some sort of weapon until we hit level 4 and get our unarmed strikes to do some decent damage. Alrighty, let's kick off the build with a level in Barbarian. The Volibear is a vicious, unarmored creature who fights with his fury and claws. Barbarian is a perfect fit. Barbs have a d12 hit die, the highest class hit die in the game, and we're taking quite a few levels in this class, so we're going to get real tanky real quick. Barbarians have proficiency in light and medium armor, as well as shields and all weapons. They also have 2 skill proficiencies to choose from, so we'll take Athletics and Intimidation, so you can make those crazy leaps and scare the crap out of your enemies with your roar. Unarmored Defense grants you AC equal to 10 plus your Dex and Con modifiers as long as you're not wearing armor. Spoiler alert, with Standard Array you're going to have a fairly low AC. You more than compensate for this by raging and having a beefier hit point total, but just keep that in mind. The final feature for this level is Rage, which is the iconic Barbarian feature that allows you to enter a special state of combat based on your fury. While raging, you gain a few features. You have advantage on strength checks and saves. You get to add bonus damage to all melee attacks that scales with your Barbarian level. Plus, you get resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. The Rage feature is going to be the transformation portion of Stormbringer. Second level Barbarians get Reckless Attack. This lets you perform all attacks that round with advantage, but you give all attacks against you advantage as well. This really lets you get your smash on. You also get Danger Sense at this level. You have advantage on all dexterity saves as long as you're able to see the source of the incoming damage. Even Faker is going to be jealous of these sick dodges. Level 3 Barbarians choose their Primal Path. This is a very easy choice as you are the literal embodiment of a Storm Herald. Storm Herald Barbarians choose an environment to embody and gain a Storm Aura when they rage. We're going to choose C for the lightning aspects and its sweet level 14 ability. Whenever the Rage is activated, and anytime again as a bonus action on each of the following turns, you choose a creature in your aura and force a dex save on it. If it fails, it takes 1d6 lightning or half as much on a success. This will ramp up for us to 2d6 at level 10. This will be our passive ability, the Relentless Storm. Just remember to make an attack and then have your DM flavor it as lightning arcing off of your strike and smacking that target. And now it's time to get our claws as weapons. 4th level barbarians get an ability score improvement. We're going to grab the Tavern Brawler feat instead. This bumps our strength by 1, gives us proficiency with improvised weapons, gives our unarmed strikes a d4 damage die, and whenever we hit a creature with an improvised or unarmed strike, you can use a bonus action to try and grapple it. Remember, work with your DM to flavor your unarmed strikes as claw attacks. Also, your grappling here can work as an early version of your Q ability as well. Level 5 barbarians gain the extra attack feature. This lets you make 2 attacks whenever you take the attack action. We want to grab this before we start to multi-class so you don't gimp your damage outputs for several levels. They also gain the fast movement feature, which gives you 10 bonus movement speed when not wearing heavy armor. Alright, now that we have our claws and our bears mad, it's time to really bring home the lightning. We're going to do that by taking several levels in Cleric. Clerics have a d8 hit die, which is definitely not bad and won't impact our tankiness too much at all. Clerics do give us proficiency with heavy armor, but this is an unarmored build anyway, so it's kinda meh. Level 1 clerics choose their Divine Domain, which is the deity they worship that grants them their abilities. Obviously you are the deity that grants you your abilities, so we'll choose the Tempest Domain. This is kind of a one-off, so you may want to work with your DM to have them worship a storm god in their world, but shouldn't be too big of a deal. Tempest Domain clerics gain Wrath of the Storm. This lets you clap back whenever something within 5 feet hits you with an attack. Burn your reaction to force a dex save on the creature. It takes 2d8 lightning or thunder damage on a fail or half on a success. 2nd level clerics get their Channel Divinities. They always get at least 2. Turn Undead and one based on their chosen domain. Turn Undead lets you force all undead creatures within 30 feet to make a wisdom save. If they fail, they're turned for a full minute unless they take damage. Valhyr could easily clean house in the Shadow Owls with this ability. Tempest clerics get the Destructive Wrath Channel Divinity. This lets you use your Channel Divinity anytime you're rolling lightning or thunder damage to forego rolling the dice and just deal max damage instead. Level 3 clerics get 2nd level spells. Tempest clerics get Gust of Wind and Shatter. Neither of those are Volibear specific really, but we can take Hold Person, which could be another version of Valhyr's Q, Thundering Smash. We're going to get a much better version later on though. This lets you force a wisdom save on a humanoid target. If they fail, they're paralyzed, and from there it's Claw Claw Bite Bite with guaranteed criticals. 4th level clerics gain an ability score improvement. We're going to bump up our strength here 2 points so we get a little more oomph in our strikes. At level 5 as a Tempest cleric, we finally get our E Sky Splitter with the Call Lightning spell. You create a storm cloud above you. The first time you cast the spell, you choose a point, and all creatures within 5 feet have to make a dex save. They take 3d10 on a fail and half on a success. You can do this as an action every turn going forward as long as you maintain concentration on the cloud. By the way, if there's already a storm brewed, you can grab that storm and gain control of it. If you do it this way, your damage ramps up by another d10. Just remember, this is lightning damage, so keep your Channel Divinity in mind whenever you cast it. Destroy Undead is another feature we get at this level that buffs your Turn Undead Channel Divinity. Any undead with a CR of 1/2 or lower is obliterated if it fails the save on being turned. 6th level Tempest clerics get Thunderbolt Strike. Anytime you deal lightning damage to a large or smaller creature, you can knock it back 10 feet away from you. With proper positioning, this is a very effective peel tool for the squishier members of your party. Alright, enough of that wisdomy religion stuff. Back to the angry smashing. 6th level Storm Heralds gain the Storm Soul feature. Since we're using the sea environment, you gain lightning resistance, a 30-foot swim speed, and underwater breathing. These are a lot of great features depending on your campaign setting. Level 7 Barbarians unlock their Feral Instinct. You now have advantage on all initiative rolls, and if you're surprised, you can also act on Surprise Round as long as you choose to rage before doing anything else. 8th level Barbarians gain another ability score improvement. We're going to get yet another fun way to use our Thundering Smash by taking the Charger feat. This gives you a bonus action attack or shove anytime you use the dash action and move 10 feet in a straight line before making the choice. If you choose the attack and it lands, it deals an additional 5 damage. Level 9 Barbarians get Brutal Critical, which is a cool way to cover the amplified damage of our Frenzied Maul. Whenever you land a critical hit, you get to roll an additional damage die when calculating the extra damage. 10th level Storm Heralds get Shielding Storm. This gives your allies lightning resistance when they're in your Storm Aura we gain back at level 6. Not really Valhyr specific, but hey, it's nice to help your friends. Level 11 Barbarians get Relentless Rage. Anytime you're raging and knocked to 0 hit points but don't flat out die, you get to make a Constitution saving throw. If you make the save, you drop to 1 hit point instead. Keyword being saving throw, which you are proficient in. The DC starts at 10, and if you make the save, the DC increases by 5 each time. By level 20, you have a +9 to your Constitution, so you're potentially able to save yourself 3 times from falling unconscious. 12th level Barbs get the final ability score improvement for the build. We're going to bump our Constitution 2 points to put some blubber on our Volibear. Level 13 Barbarians improve their Brutal Critical feature to 2 additional damage die when you land critical hits instead of 1. 14th level Storm Heralds finally give us our Q ability, Thundering Smash, through the Raging Storm feature. Anytime you hit a creature that's in your Storm Aura, you can spend your reaction to force a strength save on that creature. If it fails, it's knocked prone. I love this, because it just fits so well and fully justifies going down this path. Alright, now that we've completed the build, let's see how we did. First, the good. We have brought the storm. Valhyr calls the lightning and thunder, and it answers. Also, our boy is super thick. So many levels in Barbarian has easily given us the highest health pool in any of our builds thus far. Now, let's talk about the bad. I am sad we don't have an Ursine race for the Volibear. Bugbear is fine, but it's definitely not the same. Work with your DM and hopefully use some homebrew you can find out there. As a result, we have to waste an ability score improvement just to get our claws as weapons, which is a huge bummer. Which brings us to our damage output, which is fairly low. Raging at this point does give us 3 damage on each melee strike, but a d4 hit die is super disappointing. I would think about picking up a weapon or working with your DM to reflavor a weapon as your claws. So, what'd you think? I've included a link to this build via D&D Beyond in the description below, as well as Amazon links to the books used in this build. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few awesome rewards, including access to our Discord community and a guaranteed champion build. We plan on churning out 1 League champion build every week. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you on the Rift, or in the Forgotten Realms.